Welcome into Second Down right here on ESPN Radio. Christian Gokel alongside Cody Queen and Cam Ursery. Glad to have you alongside on this Tuesday afternoon. A lot to get into today. Big show coming up here in about an hour on 3 and Out.
Huge.
Yeah, we have 3 new members of the Atlanta Falcons secondary hopping on the show with us today at 3 o'clock. Marcus Murphy, undrafted free agent out of Mississippi State, going to hop on the show, and he's got a really interesting story and a guy I think could definitely end up making this team. Also, second-round pick Richie Grant out of UCF. He's going to be on the show at 4 o'clock, a guy who's going to need to contribute immediately for the Atlanta Falcons. And at 5/20, fourth-round pick out of San Diego State, Darren Hall, going to be on the show today. So, Cody, big show coming up today and a chance for fans to meet a lot of new faces in the Atlanta Falcons secondary.
I know a lot of people are excited to know about Grant. So, almost immediate starter that they're going to use him for. So it's going to be great to hear from him. Also, all the other guys, dude, come on. You got a full show. You are hustling. You're hustling today.
Look, we're getting after it. Also, I can't forget to mention this in there. 420, Rich Homie Styles,
yes,
going to be on the show as well. Rory McIlroy won the Wells Fargo. So we'll talk to him about that. His first win in 18 months. So a big win there for Rory McIlroy. Is he back now to his form that we saw a couple of years ago? I know got married, had a kid, then COVID hit and shut everything down. So Rory McIlroy kind of off his game for a while, but looked like the Rory McIlroy of old over the weekend. So we'll talk to Rich Styles about that. We also have Atlanta Braves baseball coming up tonight as they start a series against the Toronto Blue Jays. If you're a little apprehensive, I completely understand. I'm a little apprehensive because the Braves in the not-too-distant past got absolutely smoked in a 3-game series against the Toronto Blue Jays.
26 runs they allowed?
Something around there. Was not great, but they did push back Max Fried's start, and that's where we'll start today because we have some news around the Braves. Max Fried was supposed to start tonight, but with the day off yesterday, they've decided to kick that back another day to tomorrow. Some people indicating that maybe it's a bad matchup for Drew Smyly, and so they're trying to push it back to where Drew Smyly would not have to face the Blue Jays.
Okay.
And so you have Bryce Wilson, the Kentucky Waterfall, Cody.
It's my boy.
That's right, Mississippi Mudflap, going tonight against the Blue Jays. And hopefully Bryce Wilson can get back to what we saw from last year, because this year it's been very inconsistent from him. But then Max Fried will go tomorrow night. But, Cody, the Braves have won the past 2 series. They swept the Nationals, took 2 out of 3 from the Philadelphia Phillies, currently sitting at 500. If you can get another series win and be a game over 500, you got to feel pretty good at this portion of the season. We're a little bit of a quarter of the way through the season, so you got to feel good about where you're sitting. As weird as the beginning of the season has been and as many injuries as you faced.
A lot of people were very worried. I'm not worried. I haven't been worried until after the All-Star break. So right now we're just seeing the warm-up baseball is what I would call it. Just the warm-up is the beginning of the season. We're about a quarter of the way through. Just as long as they're competing for first, I'm fine with it. Yeah. So, but the Blue Jays are going to be so far or your downfall. So you're going to have to show up this series, I think.
The Blue Jays have hit a little bit of a skid. They are just a game over 500. So not quite. I mean, it's still the same team, but not quite on the same roll that they were on a little bit earlier in the season. But I did say we had some news to get to. Some transactions for the Atlanta Braves. They have sent Sean Kazmir, Victor Arano, Yasiel De La Cruz, all back down to Gwinnett. They've also released Nate Jones. That's kind of a failed experiment there as a reliever, also kind of coinciding with the fact that you signed Shane Green and you're expecting to get Chris Martin back. So Nate Jones has been released. Then they optioned Carl Edwards Jr. back down to AAA after his one appearance in which he gave up 3 hits and 3 earned runs. They've optioned him back down to AAA, but he elected instead to go to free agency. So Carl Edwards no longer part of the Atlanta Braves. Then the final transaction there, recalled Johan Camargo from AAA, give you some depth on the bench, and he is currently hitting .348 in AAA. So always good to have an extra option off the bench for the Atlanta Braves. But again, you got a series coming up against the Toronto Blue Jays. Bryce Wilson tonight. I mean, Cam, it hasn't been a great start to the season for Bryce Wilson, but I got to feel if you can get 4 or 5 innings out of him and keep it under 2 or 3 runs, you feel good about that out of Bryce Wilson, a guy who's just having a spot start for you right now.
Well, I'll put it like this: it'll be good just to get a win tonight. The Blue Jays has been killing them all year. They played them 3 times. They're 0-3. You don't want to start off 0-4 with them. That's just going to build even more momentum and kind of like, I want to say kill the team morale because it is just one game, but you want to get that one win. You don't want to just lose 4 games, which is pretty much a sweep.
Right, and you got another homestand here, and currently sitting at 500, a game and a half back of the New York Mets, which is a team you're going to face very soon. But again, the Braves 5-5 in their last 10 games, but you've won the past 2 series. So in the last 6 games, very successful. But you look at the Toronto Blue Jays in their last 10 games, 6-4. So I mean, they're hanging around, but it just seems like Cam said, pretty bad against everybody else. Got the Braves number. And I think a lot of that, Cody, has to do with just matchups, right? The Braves pitching at the beginning of the season hasn't been great. Blue Jays
great. It's been horrible.
Yeah, hasn't been great either, but not quite as bad as the Atlanta Braves. But that Toronto lineup has started the season pretty hot, whereas the Braves lineup now is really just catching its stride. Good to know Ronald Acuna is okay, but really hasn't been the same, I think, since that, I guess they just called it an ab injury or ab scare where he had to miss a few days. Fingers are okay after getting hit, but Freddie Freeman is the one who's really starting to come around, and we saw him get hit in the elbow, but since that took a couple of weeks, but we saw him hit the home run in the last game on ESPN, where they were literally going to a Freddie Freeman special as Freddie Freeman hit a home run during the game. So that's just some great producing there from the folks over at ESPN. But again, Freddie Freeman, I think, catching his stride, and that's a big piece in this offense you need.
Well, with Freddie, he went 0-4. Ever since he went for 0-4 that day, it's like he talked to himself in the mirror or something like that. Was like, yo,
with
not again.
Both hands.
Not again. MVP don't do that. So he's been, I'm not saying phenomenal, but once he does good, good, the rest of the team does good. He's the leader of that team, 110%, the leader of the Braves. He's been a Brave for his whole career. Mm-hmm. He's been amazing. He's been Mr. Consistent. Won an MVP finally, which I feel like he should have had a couple MVPs before. So as long as Freddie Freeman's up and above, everybody else will try to strive to match him. And then, of course, Acuna is going to be Acuna, as Ben would say.
If Freddie Freeman's the backbone, I think Ronald Acuna is the heart of the team there. But just sticking with the Braves here for a second, I did see an amazing stat on Twitter. This is courtesy of Stats by Stats. Over his last 4 starts, Huascar Ynoa of the Braves has a 1.11 ERA on the mound and a 1.300 slugging percentage at the plate. He's the first player to have a 1.300 plus slugging percentage and a sub 1.3 ERA over a span of 4 starts since Babe Ruth. So, I mean, when it's just you and the Babe up there in a stat, I think that's pretty good company to keep right there. Huascar Ynoa, see him a little bit later this week. But again, Bryce Wilson going for the Atlanta Braves tonight. We'll have the lineup for you here shortly when the Braves release that. I would imagine that we will see Johan Camargo either give Austin Riley, Dansby Swanson, or Ozzie Albies the day off soon. Yeah. Could also put him in the outfield, but I think Marcell Ozuna is really starting to catch his stride. And Christian Pache is playing really well in center field right now. The bat hasn't really been there for Pache yet, but the defense has been phenomenal. And then again, sticking with the Braves here as well, a little today in history for you, Cam. Cam, you remember way back in 1977, right? I mean, you were around. Ted Turner named himself manager for a day for the Atlanta Braves. Got to wear the uniform, go out there, fill out the lineup card, pick the pitcher, go out there, swap guys in and out, call out the pinch hitters, the pinch runners. The Braves would go on to lose that game.
I was going to ask that.
And then Major League Baseball changed the rules to where owners can not do that anymore. But, I mean, if that was a rule in the NFL, Jerry Jones, certainly would have coached a game for the Cowboys already.
He would just been coach.
Yeah, period. But I got a question for you guys. Number one, if you could own a team, which team would it be? And number two, what kind of shenanigans would you get into as the owner of that team?
Are you talking about as in favorite wise or trying to make money wise?
It doesn't have to be favorite. What team would you own? And then what kind of stuff would you get into as the owner?
Oh, I'd want to own a hockey team. I would love that just to get the bruisers. You know what I'd get, guys? Guys can't shoot. Guys fight. You know what I mean? That's the kind of guys I'm getting. I'm getting old UFC fighters and stuff like that, and be like, "Yo, you want to come over here? You ain't got to. What's that movie called? Goon or whatever?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, just like that. I'd be getting guys just like that. Screw it, man. We lose every game, but hands would be.
I'm sure the fan base would absolutely love being at the bottom of the table every single year. Cam, which team are you buying, and what would you be getting into?
The Lakers, easily. Every summer trying to go out after every free agent, really. Just making moves every summer, switching up the team.
Spending money.
Just spending money all willy-nilly. So I would definitely the Lakers. I would.
You guys are having enough fun with this. Like, number one, it would be the Atlanta Braves. Like 1,000%. And then I'm immediately selling like 49% of the team to like some billionaire, and so we can be co-owners of the team, but then we have like a higher payroll, so we can go ahead and get the Freddie Freeman contract knocked out, give Ronald Acuna a nice pay raise, Ozzie Albies a nice pay raise, and so we'd actually give the Atlanta Braves fans the I guess cap they deserve, the salary they deserve, because obviously no salary cap in baseball, but you get the salary cap, quote unquote, from the board that owns the Atlanta Braves right now, where they determine you get $130 million to play around this year. We go ahead and bump that up a couple $100 million each year. Get some crazy players in here, some nice pitching. Maybe go after old Garrett Cole. See who we could pull from the Mets, right? Because it's addition by subtraction, right? So see who we could pull away from there. But I mean,
I'm taking this. I'd be the worst owner.
But
ever.
you have to also inside of that. All right. Well, if I can't be a manager, could I be a player? Could I be a little bench roll? Maybe when you're down 12-2 in the bottom of the ninth, you're just like, oh, you know what? I think I'll sub myself in here and throw the rest of this inning out, pumping 50 up there.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't think how many pitches I'd have in me. I don't know about you. I don't know your baseball skills.
I'm not saying it's going to be good, or like put myself into left field. Like I feel like I'm not throwing anybody out, but I feel like I could definitely like run over and like shag a fly ball if I needed to.
You gotta like run up like old boy from the Sandlot and just like put it in their hand because you can't throw it that far.
But I mean, just think
that's far, dude.
We don't talk about it enough, but like just think about how cool it is, because there are a lot of them that are owned by corporations, but there's also a lot of teams that are owned by just like singular individuals. Obviously, the Cowboys, which I think just came out, they're the most valuable sports franchise in the world, like over Real Madrid and Barcelona and the Yankees.
I think 7 of the top 10 are American sports.
Right. And that a lot has to do with TV contracts and all that. But again, imagine how cool it is to be Arthur Blank. And like when you and I and Cam are all sitting in here and like trying to figure out who the Falcons are going to draft, he just gets on the phone and goes, "Who are we drafting?" And they're like, "Kyle Pitts." He's like, "All right, appreciate it." And like he gets to hang up the phone. And it's like, I think that'd be pretty amazing. I don't know.
Owning a team and all that stuff, yeah, it would be amazing.
So you're not putting yourself out there on the field?
Oh, I am. I'm playing point guard at least, just breaking the ball up the court.
Absolutely massacred on the court. That would be bad.
Yeah,
I will. But see, the thing is, I come and just pass and just go sit in the corner.
No. The thing is, you're like, yeah, I own the team. I don't care.
I know. I'm not trying to say this about you, but I don't think people appreciate how big and fast NBA players are. You're like, I could go out there and distribute the rock. As soon as like it takes the synapses in your brain to fire that electron to tell your hands to pass the ball. LeBron, I guess LeBron's on your team, but Giannis is already snapping the ball out of your hands and dunking the other way before your brain can even process the thought of passing the ball. Like that's how fast and strong those guys are. And Cam, I love you. I know you hoop, but man, I don't think you're getting a ball out of your hands.
You're
getting ripped as soon as they pass you the ball.
No, as soon as they pass me the ball, I'm like, Brian, come get the ball. Come get the ball. No, because
like God forbid you try to put the ball down and dribble. That's gonna be bad.
Yeah, one of my old teammates, he's in the NBA G League, and he's head over shoulders like above all of us. When we go to the gym, he kills us. Like he literally kills us at the gym all the time. So yeah, he's just in the G League. So I've seen some NBA players. They come to the gym and we play, and they come in there and they kill us. So they are freaks. They're freaks.
Yeah, I have my hands over feet. Yeah,
hands over feet. Exactly there. But no, I mean, I think the one sport, like again, this is one of the reasons I want to own it, is baseball. I feel like, again, I've seen some folks that they stick out in left field when they got to stick them out in left field, specifically when an AL team plays in an NL team stadium and they have to keep their DH in the lineup, so they have to put them out of position. It's either first base or left field, right? Either a place where you really don't have to move too much, or a place where the balls percentage wise is going to be hit to you less than any other spot, I feel like I could play a left field.
I don't feel like I could play this position, but I would like to get one snap. I would like to run the ball one time between the tackles and just fall down.
I hope you're talking
like,
about
before I get hit.
I hope you're talking about like an XFL team.
No,
If you
NFL.
see NFL, you're gonna die.
No, I'm gonna die. Yeah, I want to die.
It's like you want them to carry you off or like
It's
bury
okay.
you right
As
there
a
on the
Bronco, yeah, wearing number 25, just holding me down, and I'll just die. I'll just die.
So you own the team.
Kevin, are you yelling at me over there?
I think Kevin had a tab pulled up and the volume too loud.
Oh, I was like,
over there. But no, yeah.
that's heaven to me.
So your order would be, as an owner, I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna run the ball, I'm gonna die, and then bury me right here on the field.
And then Colton, yes, right where I died, and
Yes.
have Colton own the team.
Yeah,
Here you
your
go,
boy
Colton. Go
owns the
ahead.
team. You're leaving
Mhm.
Gracie out of all this?
Grace doesn't like football and stuff like that. If it was basketball, she likes to watch NBA and all that stuff and play basketball. So yeah, definitely, she don't care about football.
Well, there you go. Again, shoot us a tweet at ESPN Coastal. Just in honor of Ted Turner back in 1977, just being like, you know what? I think I can do this better than my manager.
Yo, Teddy Turner.
Yeah, I'm going to hop in here and manage for a day. Shoot us a tweet at ESPN Coastal. Which team would you want to own, and what kind of shenanigans would you pull if you owned that team? We got more to come here on Second Down. A lot of transfers in NCAA football. Will update you on some of the biggest ones and the ones that are going to make the biggest impact coming up in 2021. And I mean, I'm just going to give it, like, I'm going to let you guys make the choice. We can talk about Tim Tebow if y'all want to.
Yeah, I don't care.
I mean, it's kind of lame, but
It's a money grab. That's all it is. That's all you got to say about it.
We could talk about it if you want to. We got that coming up on Second Down right after this. Second Down on ESPN Radio is presented to you by the Uniform Source. Glad you are hanging out with us on this Tuesday afternoon. We got Braves baseball coming up for you a little bit later this afternoon. Braves pregame immediately following 3 and Out, as we mentioned. 3 new additions to the Atlanta Falcons secondary going to be joining 3 and Out throughout the show. You got Marcus Murphy out of Mississippi State coming up at 3 o'clock. Richie Grant, the second-round pick out of UCF at 4 o'clock. And then at 5:20, Darren Hall, the fourth-round pick out of San Diego State, will be joining the show. So if you are a Falcons fan and you want to get introduced to the newest members of what was a very depleted secondary,
yes,
tune in to 3 and Out today. Or if you miss any portion of it, you can find ESPN Coastal on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, or ESPNCoastal.com. All the interviews archived there. Bryce Wilson getting the start for the Atlanta Braves tonight. As we mentioned, we will have full coverage coming up just after 3 and Out on that one. Ben Ingram and the guys on the Braves pregame show. But guys, some news coming out of Statesboro. In a statement, Georgia Southern has announced that all outdoor athletic events will be at 100% capacity going forward. I believe they said May 20th will be the first event, a baseball game, where they will allow 100% capacity. So for all the Georgia Southern fans out there, when you get back to football season, Paulson Stadium will be at 100% capacity going forward. So some good news right there, but also a very important day today, guys. National Eat What You Want To Day.
Oh, don't tell me this, dude. You know I've been trying to eat better and all that stuff. Well, I have been eating better.
I know you've been trying to eat healthy, and I took advantage of the holiday to scarf down a delicacy, American Deli.
It is a delicacy
in the belly. Some lemon pepper wings cam with a nice steak Philly there. That's why I'm maybe a little slow right now, a little sluggish. The mouth a little dry from the lemon pepper wings.
Go a little nine-nine?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to take a swig of this here unsweet tea. I did unsweet tea.
You have a longer day today because you are covering for me. I appreciate it.
Yep.
I have no AC in my house right now, so I have to go down there. It is miserable. Yes, so he's gonna have to cover some 3 and Out for me.
Two things to discuss here. Let's start with the air conditioning, because Cam, is there anything more essential to living in the state of Georgia than air conditioning? Because I can't think of anything.
It's number one. It's number one by far.
Didn't have last night, dude.
That's rough. I can't sleep.
It was hot last night.
I can't sleep.
I was fine. I've slept in heat before. I was sweating, but I was fine. But my little girl Gracie was not having it. She couldn't sleep last night. It was very miserable for her. And we don't really own any box fans or anything like that. So we were just ceiling fanning it up and opening up the windows.
That's about the only way you can fall asleep, Cam, is if like the AC is out, you got to sleep on top of the covers and you got to wait for yourself to start sweating. And then the fan hits your body and like you're wearing as like little clothes as possible.
Oh yeah. No,
minimal amount of clothing, but you got to wait till you start sweating for that fan to start hitting you. And then maybe you can go to sleep, but it is not good sleep.
No, it's bad sleep. I had that happen, I think, in school one time, and I had to have the fan just dead in my face for me to go to sleep. But it is an uncomfortable sleep.
Yeah, and I need like in the car as well. Like having AC broken in the car in Georgia, and it's like July, and the most miserable time is when you're stopped at a stoplight because you're waiting for the airflow to come back. You get out, your back's all sweaty. That's tough.
It was miserable. So they're supposed to be here to fix it. Hopefully it's something small.
Yeah, as soon as you said your air conditioning was out, I was like, no matter what you need to do,
it's so bad. It was so bad.
Get that fixed. I don't care like if I have to cover for you for the next 2 weeks. Get your dang AC fixed.
Dude, it's I can't like I even left the house early to do like freaking errands today. And I came into work early because I was like, dude, it's so hot in here. And then I tried turning it on to see if it worked. It was just blowing out hot air. So it made my house hotter. So I'm like, crap. So
get it serviced today.
Yes, it will be.
We're a bunch of amateur mechanics over here, and so we're like, I don't know, it could be the compressor, could be some Freon. Let's just it's like looking on WebMD. It's like, let's just go to the doctor and let them figure it out. So Cody's getting that taken care of. But again, today is National Eat What You Want Day, and what I need from both of you guys is a full menu. I need breakfast, lunch, and dinner. If you're actually celebrating this holiday, Cam, what's for breakfast, what's for lunch, what's for dinner on Eat What You Want Day? We're not worried about calories. We're not worried about our waistline. We're not worried about feeling great. We're just eating what we want.
I do this every day. So grits, eggs, sausage, and bacon for breakfast. Lunch, I'll probably get some wings, like you said, 10-piece lemon pepper wet, peach drink, light ice. And then tonight, I'm going out with the fellas and getting some lamb chops, with some nice drinks.
Yes.
Yes.
You know what I wasn't introduced until I moved to South Georgia? Fried pork chops.
Huh?
Yeah, fried pork chops.
That's the business.
What?
Like, I've always been around smoked pork chops, and of course I've had pork chops off the grill. I mean, Cody's had one of the biggest pork chops I've ever seen in my life
Delicious.
when we were in North Georgia, but I had never had fried pork chops until I moved to South Georgia. We went to a buffet, and they were like, yeah, that's just like there's fried chicken, fried pork chops. I was like, what is fried pork? It's amazing.
So good.
Amazing.
You
Yes,
feel days of your life being shaved off as you eat it, but it's still delightful.
Fried pork chops. Oh man, I already have high cholesterol. So, but I am not going to eat whatever I want today.
No, but if you were,
if I was in the morning, about a whole pack of bacon. Yeah.
Okay.
Thick slice. Get some biscuits in there, some nice homemade biscuits, and some French toast. Oh man, French toast, baby. I love French toast.
Are you not an egg guy?
No, I don't like eggs.
Yeah, not an egg guy. What
Not an
about
egg guy
lunch?
at all. Lunch, I'm gonna have to go with a calzone.
Ooh.
Oh, calzones or a stromboli. I'll have to go with that. Pepperoni. And then for dinner, gonna have to get some wings. Let's do, if you're doing 1 to 10 spiciness, going with a 6, not too hot, not too light. Going with them not extra wet, but a little bit more normal than wet. And I crushed about 20 of them bad boys.
Also, another thing I had never been introduced before I moved down here: double fried wings.
Introduced that to me, yeah.
That doesn't mean that you just make the wings extra crispy. It means you fry the wings, sauce them up, and then fry them again. And it's amazingly crispy, but
it'll change your life, dude.
It's amazingly crispy, but also super tender on the inside as well. That was nuts. So South Georgia coming through.
We were at like Nats, and you were like
Marshside.
You're like, yo, try these. I'm like,
yeah, gotta give credit where credit.
Very skeptical, dude. I was like, let me see, dude. Change your life.
Yeah,
it'll change your life.
Marshside, shout out. They put the bacon in the blue cheese. Smooth.
I did not have their blue cheese. Dang.
Smooth.
Nice.
But no, I mean breakfast. I'm kind of with you guys, right? You do the classic Southern breakfast. I want scrambled cheese eggs. If they come from Waffle House, that would be preferred. Bacon, sausage, biscuits and gravy. But the key here is mimosas with it, because I need something to knock me out for about 2 hours so I can wake back up, and then about 3 o'clock be ready for a late lunch. I had to do lunch. Probably what I just did. Steak Philly with a side of wings and a side of fries. That was unbelievable. But then for dinner, if this is National Eat What You Want Day, whatever you want, bone-in ribeye.
Oh, dang. Wagyu. Wagyu, baby.
No, I mean, Wagyu, whatever you want. Wherever you get it from, just a nice bone-in ribeye cooked about mid-rare.
Medium rare. Oh, yeah.
About mid-rare. And give me a side of just loaded baked potato, some broccoli.
You'd be like Ben and get it well done. Like crazy, man. I ain't never heard nobody do that.
I think Ben has said that he has evolved and he now gets it medium. But there could be false reporting. That's reckless speculation on my part. But I'm pretty sure Ben said that. But again, today
I'm gonna change it on this Wikipedia
Today
page.
is National Eat What You Want To Day. And I know you're on the diet out there if you're listening and you're trying to count your calories and you're trying to cut down your waist. But you know what? Treat yourself. You see, if you're driving past Krispy Kreme and you see the hot and ready sign on Krispy Kreme, swing in there and get you a 6 count. Right, treat yourself.
Oh, no, I might get me wings tonight.
Yeah, take the family out to a nice dinner. All right, they deserve it.
I don't think I'm doing that.
They deserve it. They deserve it. Cody, whatever your kids want to eat tonight, let them eat. Actually, that's an experiment for the show. Give your kids the choice of what they want to eat tonight, and report back to us tomorrow as to what they decide.
They're gonna say ramen.
As to what they decide.
They love that crap, dude. They love ramen.
So you say
because I don't allow them to eat ramen much because it's like not good for you.
There's nothing nutritious about it.
Whatsoever. Yeah, so I don't really allow them to eat it at all. So when they have a choice to eat it, like they're like crack addicts, dude. They're like, oh my God, I gotta have it. I gotta have it. So good. So good. Gotta have it. Like, okay.
The addiction is real.
Dude, the addiction's real with them freaking noodles with them kids. It's nuts.
There you go. Cody Queen giving his kids a choice of everything on the planet to eat, and they're choosing ramen noodles. We got more to come here on Second Down. Again, big show coming up on 3 and Out. 3 new members of the Atlanta Falcons going to be hopping on the show with us today. You won't want to miss that. Also, Atlanta Braves against the Toronto Blue Jays coming up a little bit later. We got more to come here on Second Down. We, of course, presented to you by the Uniform Source. 2 different locations in Savannah to take care of all of your uniform needs. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back into Second Down right here on ESPN Radio. Christian Gokel alongside Cody Queen and Cam Urshry. Glad you are hanging out with us today. Guys, big news earlier this week as Henry Toto from Tennessee, the all-everything linebacker, announced that he is formally transferring to Alabama. He becomes the second, I'd say, big-name guy to transfer to Alabama. They also added a guy to the wide receiver room. So Alabama being Alabama, right? They're going to have all the 5 stars, and they're going to go out there and add a couple of pieces as well. And I think the defense is going to be pretty phenomenal for the Tide this year. But Alabama, not the only one in the transfer market. Oklahoma got Wanya Morris and the running back Gray from Tennessee. Georgia got Tyke Smith, the safety / slot DB from West Virginia. So a lot of key guys transferring around, especially to some contenders out there. I know Clemson has actually lost a few guys to some pretty significant programs there. But when you look back over the past few years inside of college football, transfers have kind of shaped the hierarchy of college football. Really, you had, obviously, I'd say the most prominent one would be Joe Burrow. A couple of years ago, he transfers in from Ohio State, plays his junior year at LSU, and then we all know what happened his last year at LSU with one of the most unbelievable seasons ever. But you had Kyler Murray at Oklahoma doing what he did. Actually, the last 3 quarterbacks prior to Spencer Rattler, because you had Jalen Hurts transferring from Alabama. You had Baker Mayfield transferring in, and then, as we mentioned, Kyler Murray transferring in. So really, I think transfers have already started to shape the landscape of college football. But now with the new one-time transfer rule where you can transfer anywhere without penalty, I know there's still some gray area about sitting out inside certain conferences if you transfer inside the conferences. But with this new rule passing through the NCAA and allowing you to transfer to whatever school you have, it's blown out. Like, the number of transfers inside the portal has absolutely blown any other year out of the water. Right. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that there's a lot of folks out there that are getting an extra year of eligibility due to COVID, coinciding with the fact that you get that one-time transfer. I mean, Cam, I'll start with you. Do you see college football specifically changing significantly, or is this just something where we get to see these guys a year sooner?
I guess you could say significantly, because now they're seeing, okay, and the only way this is going to change is there's an expansion of the playoffs. If you see the same 4 teams every year, they're going to go to Alabama, a Georgia, a team that gives them the best chance to get in that 4-team slot. So you're going to see this a lot. When it was just kind of like balance, you seen Cam Newton going to Auburn. You're not going to see nobody transfer to Auburn to win it all. You seen Russell Wilson go from, I think it was NC State to Wisconsin.
Yep.
That's kind of like balance. But now you're going to see these guys go to these top tier teams because it's only 4 teams that can get in that playoff, and that's all that matters.
I mean, it's something we've seen before, as we mentioned, Cody. Most of the time, the high profile ones are quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Right. Because they go in, there's a couple other guys that are competing for the job. I mean, we just saw TJ Finley leave LSU. There's just a couple of guys. It's only one guy's going to get the start. And so one of the 2 backups usually are the ones you see transfer initially. So it's something we've seen inside college football. But do you feel like with the new rule, it's going to change the landscape of college football? Or do you just think it's just going to allow us to see these guys a year earlier?
Yeah, I think it's just going to see us see the guys a year earlier. I don't think it's going to make the biggest difference. When this was brought up, people were like, "Oh my gosh, it's going to completely change the landscape of college football." I don't think it really will, because you're not seeing an overtly amount, like a lot of players being like, "Hey, I want to transfer." It's when it does happen, it's kind of big news because it doesn't happen a lot. So when it does happen, 90% of the time they're allowed to anyways. So you're just allowing the other 10% allowed.
Well, like with Russell Wilson, you have the grad transfer rule, right?
Yeah,
where if you stay and you graduate from the university, then you're allowed to transfer. I think the rule is this was the rule. There had to be an academic area of study that the school you were transferring from didn't offer. And so if you transferred from there after you graduated and you were a grad student, then you were allowed to transfer without penalty. But yeah, also recently what's become prevalent is the NCAA granting waivers that made them immediately eligible.
Yeah, and you don't see many people, who is the kid who wanted to go to Tennessee to be closer to his like dying grandfather, and they denied it?
Well, no,
so
that
it's
was,
rare
so I
occurrence
think you're
you
mixing
see
up
that.
a couple of Georgia transfers there. So
Okay.
Cade Mays transferred to Tennessee. Then there's a lot that goes into that story. His dad was suing, or probably is still suing, the University of Georgia because he had an incident where his finger got like caught up in a folding chair at a University of Georgia event, and so he was suing the school about that. But also had family at Tennessee, and so he transferred up to Tennessee. But I'm trying to, I think was it John Fitzpatrick? I'm trying to remember the tight end from Georgia that transferred up to be with his grandfather.
Yeah,
But
John Fitzpatrick.
But
Right.
I don't know if it's him, but but he transferred up to be close to his grandpa, but it coincided with Justin Fields transferring to Ohio State. And it was pretty clear to everyone that the reason Justin Fields transferred was for playing time, even though there were some racial allegations at the University of Georgia, whereas the tight end transferred from Georgia to be closer to his grandfather. And the NCAA granted Justin Fields a waiver to be able to play immediately at Ohio State, but did not grant the waiver to the tight end. So that's where a lot of people had issues with just the lack of clarity as to why you would grant the waiver. I mean, being close to a dying relative, I think, is the biggest reason why you would grant a waiver. But that being said, now we have the new rule in there, and Michael Bratton from that SEC podcast put out his impact rankings, and number one on the list is Tyke Smith, who's transferred to the University of Georgia. And I think impact there, you say it's a position of need. Georgia obviously lost a lot of guys to the NFL draft and to the transfer portal.
Cade Mays. Oh, no, you already said Cade Mays, right?
Cade Mays transferred to Tennessee. Yeah.
Yes.
But again, Georgia lost a ton of guys inside the secondary. But in terms of significant impact transfers, Cam, he's got Wan'Dale Robinson, the wide receiver from Nebraska, transferring to Kentucky, especially since Kentucky is going to go with more of a wide open offense with Liam Cohen taking over as their offensive coordinator. But Henry Toto from Tennessee transferring to linebacker at Alabama. He has that one up there. Tennessee getting the transfer Juwan Mitchell, the linebacker from Texas. But I mentioned Clemson. Mike Jones, the linebacker, transferred from Clemson to LSU. I think he's going to be an immediate impact guy. And then Dan Mullen may not be able to recruit 5 stars, but he can certainly recruit 5 stars that are transferring from other teams, because he went and got DeMarcus Bowman, the running back from Clemson, there as well. And then just some other ones looking there. Hendon Hooker transferred in from Virginia Tech. They also got a quarterback from Michigan as well at Tennessee. So, I mean, you're going to see transfers make a significant impact. I mean, Kim, we're talking about the quarterback for the University of Georgia, right? I mean, JT Daniels is one of the hottest names in college football, transferred in from USC. So I just think I'm not inherently saying that this is going to change the landscape of college football, because I've seen some people on there saying, man, the transfer portal is blowing up. College football is never going to be the same. I think it's already been that way, right?
Yep, I agree.
It's already been that way. We've seen it specifically over the past decade. I mean, Cam Newton had the best season in the history of college football, according to me. That's always been my opinion. Single season by a singular player. He's a transfer.
I think Lamar Jackson did, but
I mean, Lamar Jackson doesn't have any national championships.
That's true, but
I mean, Lamar Jackson has some crazy stats, and I'm not taking anything away from Lamar, but I mean, Cam Newton winning a national championship on an offense that didn't have another player take a snap inside the NFL, a national championship against the Alabama teams that put crazy amounts of players into the NFL. Like those 2010 Mark Ingram, AJ McCarron, Alabamas, right? Like those were nuts. I still think it's Cam Newton, and I think all of our conversations will eventually come back to this. I don't know why. I don't know why that happens, but it's always going to come back to that. But I mean, Cam, just like I said, some crazy significant transfers coming in, but I just think not only is that the future of college football, I think just it's the way it's always been.
Yeah, it has been that way. Like you said, dating back to 2010, Cam Newton changed the landscape. Russell Wilson followed suit. Joe Burrow. It's going to be like, it's just more prominent now because these guys are trying to play. Back then we saw guys sitting for 2-3 years and waiting their time. These guys are trying to play now, trying to get a national championship freshman and sophomore year. That's why you see guys transferring. They want to compete now.
And I know some people say football, it's a really hard sport to just come in and play immediately, especially the fact that you got 22 spots, and usually there's going to be a sophomore, junior, a senior who's already been there, knows the offense, knows the defense, and is ready to step into play, has been in that offseason weight training program. Obviously, there's always going to be freshmen that are good enough to do it and just fill certain positions that you need. But that being said, I think some people and some coaches have expressed concern that football is a sport, not saying all sports aren't, but specifically football is a sport where you have to stick with a certain team and a certain style of play, a certain playbook, to where you can start fitting in as you develop inside of it. And it becomes difficult if you're consistently transferring. If you transfer 2 or 3 times, right, it's going to become hard for you to get those opportunities. That's true. And it's going to be tough for the coaches as well. But I think that's a decision we have to let the players make. And I think the reality you'll see from most is a majority of players aren't going to transfer because of that simple fact. They understand, and they're having the conversation with the coaches. They understand that there's a guy in front of you that's better than you right now, and B, you just have to develop. But when you have that opportunity, like players who have a chance to see the field at Alabama after like watching this last draft, you're not going to transfer, right? Devonta Smith had Henry Ruggs, Jalen Waddle, Ridley, and God, why am I missing his name? Jerry Jeudy. In front of him, didn't transfer, but Jalen Waddle and Devonta Smith still got picked in the first round. Henry Ruggs still got picked in the first round. Jerry Jeudy still got picked in the first round. Calvin Ridley got picked in the first round. I don't think, much like you don't see it right now, I don't think you're going to see like a vast majority of players start transferring. I still think you're going to see a majority of them sticking around with their programs, specifically when you're at those hyper-competitive schools like Georgia, like Alabama, like Ohio State. You're going to see some transfer always, like Tyreek Stevenson. He wasn't going to play boundary corner at Georgia. He wanted to play boundary corner, so he went to Miami, right? I get it. You only got one shot to be in college, and if you think your best bet to make it to the pros at a certain position and you're not going to play at that school, transfer.
And it kind of works out. Let's look at transfer quarterbacks. How many years in a row now have we had a first-round pick that's transfer quarterback? This year, Justin Fields.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't – I mean, it's going to happen. And they're obviously going to go there to see if they're going to get better. And then they get drafted.
Prior to this year, the last 3 quarterbacks that were taken number 1 overall had been transfer. So, because you had Joe Burrow. Was Kyler Murray?
Kyler Murray was.
Yep,
Kyler Murray and Baker Mayfield. So,
yep.
I mean.
So when people say it's bad for the sport, dude, I don't think it is at all.
And they've been great.
Great.
They've been great.
No, and again, I've said the tight end for the Jaguars, Tim Tebow, he's the greatest college quarterback ever. But I think like maybe the greatest career ever, just in terms of actually being a college football player, is probably Baker Mayfield because of walking on, transferring, having his eligibility held up, winning a Heisman Trophy, going to college football playoffs, the teams he played against, the games he played in, the attitude. Love me some Baker Mayfield. But again, transfer is here to stay. We got to take a quick break. We are up against it. We'll be right back with the final segment. Big show coming up today on 3 and Out. We'll hear from 3 different new Atlanta Falcons defensive backs. Marcus Murphy, undrafted free agent out of Mississippi State, coming up next. We're also going to catch up with Richie Grant, the second-round pick at safety out of UCF. And then coming up today at 5:20, Darren Hall, the fourth-round pick out of San Diego State, a new corner for the Atlanta Falcons. That's all coming up next right here on ESPN Radio.